Welcome in to Fired Up Sports. I'm Mike Giletto. Joining me as always, Mark Ramos live from Xfinity Mobile Arena up in the press box. Hell of a couple games. What was it seem like? Obviously, they're not. They arrested a bunch of guys tonight. To try to get healthy and rest for the playoffs, where they're going to be playing the Pittsburgh Penguins. But what was the game like? What was the environment in the building? Was there a heightened buzz?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think people were really, it was kind of like, too, I think we all kind of felt it up here, too, where like people were very, like, we're relaxed now. The hard part was
Yeah,
over.
yeah,
Yesterday was you could feel like a real, like, kind of like nervous energy, I think.
yeah.
But tonight it was a little bit more happier. A lot of people like kind of breathing a sigh of relief here, at least for a couple days before we get going against Pittsburgh.
Dude, the overtime against Carolina, it was the most stressed I've been watching a hockey game in quite some time. A regular season hockey game in quite some time.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
so stressful. Carolina hits a post in overtime. You think that kind of
yeah,
is trouble back of the net, and then like they've been doing all year. I mean, it's funny thinking about like their success in shootouts this season because like how many years was that the Achilles heel of the Flyers where like they just always sucked at shootouts.
yeah, yeah,
This year it gets them to the playoffs basically.
yeah. Really, I mean, I think just when you talk about the shootouts and all, Mike, it's like adding a player like Trevor Zegras helps.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
Michkov's pretty dynamic, but it was neither one of those guys last night. Forrester getting the game winner. And, of course, Vladar shutting the door and team MVP this year, too. They announced the team awards this season, and I think that was a pretty easy selection for team MVP. Vladar was really
Easy.
backbone of a lot of things they were doing this year.
Easily the team MVP. It's not even a question. I mean, it's one of the signings that in the offseason they're like, it's interesting. I'm intrigued with signing Dan Vladar, but like it's one looking back where you're like, you give Danny Briere a lot of credit for that move to kind of see, maybe even with the signing, he probably gave you a little more than you even expected, but like. Kudos to Briere for making the signing, and Vladar was, is the main reason the team is where they are, for sure.
Definitely. He was a big factor in it. Look at even guys like Christian Dvorak, like having career years here. And he parlayed that into a contract too. There was a lot of that this year, and really like the post Olympic break, this team's been, they've been on fire.
On fire. Yep.
There's no other way to put it, and they deserve to be here. They deserved this run and a shot to kind of like take the next step in the playoffs. And one thing that was really great, I think, throughout all of that was, even though it's been labeled a rebuild still, a lot of the young players that they've had in their system and stuff like that, they've all kind of stepped up. Porter Martone gets here even better than advertised, I think, down the stretch here, helping the team push into a playoff spot. Michkov was fantastic tonight and was
Yeah, he was great.
incredibly good, really throughout the stretch run here. Denver Barkey contributing, Alex Bump, like there's a lot of young guys that have, Jamie Drysdale, his ascension this year has been a real fun story to follow. So there's been a lot of positives,
Oh yeah, and you're heading into a playoffs where again you're like one of the hottest teams in hockey, and you have a guy like Martone who you don't necessarily expect to be there. He wasn't there obviously all season. Was at Michigan State and comes in and is like a big key contributor. You have a guy like Tyson Forster when he got injured earlier in the season. I don't think anybody expected him to return in season. Like that was kind of an season-ending injury. People thought,
hmm
and like he's the guy that scored the shootout, game winner and got him there, and has played great since he came back. So like there's like a heightened, I guess, a hype around this team because like maybe a month ago you're like, we're on the outside looking in. I don't know if who knows if they get in. It's kind of a it's a long way to climb. But like if they get in, they're probably gonna an early exit or whatever. I don't know that I feel that way anymore. Like they're playing like they're the hottest team in hockey.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, and I was actually gonna. I think there's some things I have planned for the website leading up
Okay.
here. Once the schedule gets, the playoff schedule gets released, we know when the game one is and stuff like that. I think Thursday. I think is when the playoff schedule drops. But I think, like to and for it to be Pittsburgh too. I mean, like for these guys to kind of get an experience and a taste against them, and to see like not only are the Flyers snapping a playoff drought, but to do it against a rival and in-state rival. This place was rocking yesterday. I can't imagine what it's going to be like for games 3 and 4 when they get back here. Regardless of what happens in Pittsburgh, this place is going to be a very, very loud and raucous place, and probably as well a very difficult place to play if you're coming in black and gold.
Sure. Yes, and like they obviously it's been since like 2020 since they make the playoffs, but like even that season obviously was a COVID season, and COVID kind of derailed that whole season. You get in bubble, whatever, but like I never felt like that team. I know they played well heading into before the league shut down, but like I never felt like they really had a shot. Like they weren't necessarily a young team. They just kind of had a lot of vets that like it just wasn't as exciting as I think this team is currently because all the young pieces on it.
Yeah, I think that's really kind of the big part of it, right? Is like the having all these young players in key roles for you. And there's other parts of the roster, right? Like it's still very much a work in progress. And when you mentioned Pittsburgh, and like one thing that they've also been hot here in the down the stretch run as well. But like they were a team, a lot of people were writing them off as well.
Dude, before the season started, it was very well known around the league. There was one team that was rebuilding. That was the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
They made the playoffs. They were great all season. They said no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, and it's like, so for this series, and like I said, I'm going to plan to write some things, hopefully like in preview of the series coming up. But Pittsburgh is like, they have obviously talent up front, right? Like that's the strength of that roster. Their goaltending, I would be worried about if I were them in a playoff series. And that's not really a question here, for all what we just mentioned about Vladar. So it's like, what if there's a moment where Stuart Skinner is Edmonton Oilers Stuart Skinner?
It could happen.
And like it can, bad goaltending can like, it can undo a lot of good things. So,
totally.
But it would be great. It would be great if this young kind of ragtag Flyers could maybe put a dagger in the Crosby, Malkin, Letang their last dance here, so to speak. Yep. That would be really cool from a rivalry standpoint.
Of course.
But it's going to be fun, man. People were so excited yesterday, and it felt like a playoff game down here. Like coming into the building, I actually stopped and saw a friend before he was down here at the game, and I was standing in the hallway and stuff, and people are coming into the building, and there's "Let's Go Flyers" chants, and it just felt very like it felt like it used to feel down here all the time.
Yeah.
And, we talk about it often, but like the whole feeling and the vibe and things like that, the feeling around the team feels like really different. Really.
Even WIP's forced to talk about them now. And we can save that for another day. We don't have to get into that today. But no, like I did want to talk about tonight's game as well. Like you see a few, obviously a bunch of scratches. Saving some guys resting. So you saw a lot of new faces in the lineup tonight.
Sure.
Bonk and McDonald playing their first game, and both had really big impacts tonight. Like,
Yeah.
I thought they both looked really good. What did you see from and obviously this was like the Matvey Michkov game. It's funny, he's 20 years old, whatever he is, second year in the league. He looked like a vet tonight among these guys. Like he just took control the first half of that game.
Yeah.
What did you see from the new faces, the young guys?
Yeah, they played. Everybody kind of like chipped in and had their moments. Bonk obviously had the goal and an assist in the game, and he was very very like solid. And one thing I noticed about him, he was up in a lot of plays too.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the Flyers defense kind of like activate it like that this year, but Bonk kind of he was up in a lot of plays, I thought, offensively and stuff like that. And his goal, right? Of course, like there's his D partner tonight and teammate in Lehigh Valley, Hunter McDonald throws a huge hit on Joe Volino,
Yep.
and kind of creates the space for Michkov to make that play over to Bonk, and then Bonk scores, his first NHL goal. So, he was impressive in this game. He did some nice things, and even David Juracek, I've seen. I thought it was a mixed bag for him tonight, but I could definitely see he let go of a couple like big wound up for some big slap shots, and he's definitely got a heavy shot.
Sure does, yeah.
So, but the D zone coverages and stuff like that, I think something that probably they can work with him on. So we'll see what happens there. He may be on the team next year, so we'll see what happens there. But I thought he was fine too. But I think out of the young guys and stuff like that, I think. Bonk was really good tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe see both of them next year. Like I don't know if the spots are necessarily there for them both to make the team out of camp, but they're certainly going to be battling for that for one or two spots. So
yeah, like on the right side of the defense, right? Like Ristolainen has another year, I think. Next year, I think he's UFA after next year. Mm-hmm. Drysdale's obviously a right shot D, and then you have Bonk and Juracek. So I definitely think we see one of them. Maybe it's like an internal battle between the two of them for that, third pair right shot, right D spot.
And they did just give Juracek the extension, so he probably has the upper leg right now in that competition, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so, because then you can kind of carve out a plan for him too, where it's like third line or third pair power play time. He should certainly help the Flyers power play. I would imagine, but it's funny because I think those guys are going back. The Phantoms are kind of fighting for their playoff lives right now, and I think a lot of those guys that got called up are heading to. I think they're playing in Springfield. Okay. And then they're going to join the Phantoms, and that's like nice. A must-win game for the Phantoms, tomorrow, I think. So they'll be right back out there in an important atmosphere, an important game tomorrow. So
yeah, and I obviously wanted to address the comment about how I want to talk it fired, but then he listened to me and they started winning. Listen, it's no secret that myself and a lot of the fan base criticized Tocchet heavily.
Yeah, sure.
He made a lot of questionable decisions in the first half of the season. The Olympic break happens. They come back, and he did the things that I think we've all been asking all along. And listen, as much as I shit on him in the first half of the season, you got to give him his flowers. He got the team. He got the team to the playoffs. So credit to him. I haven't read the full transcript, but apparently. On some broadcast, Pete DeBoer apparently had a big to do with Rick Tocchet and changing the system halfway through the season. Apparently, they were really close. They talked a lot and helped Rick Tocchet. Again, I can't bring up the full quote. I don't have it yet. But apparently, Rick Tocchet credits Pete DeBoer for the way this defense looked
Yeah.
halfway through the year. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That is interesting. He's not coaching in the league right now, is he? DeBoer?
DeBoer went to, yes, he was the Islanders, right? When they fired Patrick Waugh. They fired Waugh and then they hired Pete
Oh, they
DeBoer.
hired DeBoer.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I think 3 days or 3 games left or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that, but that's interesting, you know. But yeah, I did not
Yeah,
know that.
during tonight's Habs French pregame show, Rick Tocchet credited DeBoer for fixing the Flyers' defensive issues and getting them into playoffs. Said they had a chat during the Olympics. They needed to sort out the Flyers' D. Since DeBoer wasn't working for a team, he agreed to help his friend. Tocchet credits him and that for help turning the Flyers' season. So it's interesting.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure that's not uncommon. I'm sure guys talk all the time.
Yeah.
You know, especially if, coaches and stuff. You always hear about like the NHL and at that level, it's such a small circle.
Totally.
So I'm sure coaches pick each other's brains and stuff like that when they get a chance to talk. And Taka was also at the Olympics, so I'm sure he talked to Cooper and all them guys. Like, so yeah, no, I mean he definitely deserves credit too for how this. It's a group effort. It's a team thing, and. Seeing him with his team and the players and some of the clips the team shared, and the locker room and all.
They need to show more of that. Like I need to see that side of Tocchet. But they don't. I don't see it enough.
Yeah, no, you're right, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like you could quell a lot of the outside noise. I think if you show some of those things, pull back the curtain a little bit, and see like, this guy's not a monster that's trying to kill your favorite young player's dreams.
Well, that's what it seemed like. That's what it seemed like the first half of the year.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, like that's something that we've seen a little bit more of lately. So, but no, I mean, he's been a part of it too, and I think the stuff with Michkov and all that stuff was, I think that kind of spun out of control. I mean, that was something that. I really kind of started as like an internet thing, and then just spiraled into this like, Briere had to address it.
Yeah, but like it was an internet thing, but at the same time, Tocchet didn't do any favors to like, like he didn't make the flame die. You know what I mean? Like he didn't say anything to kind of put the water on the flame, so to speak. So.
Oh, absolutely. There was gasoline poured on it at the carnival.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like
that all kind of reached the fever pitch. But I think at the end of the day, and I've said this on this show before, Mike, but like everybody wants to win. I think at the end of the day, guys like Tocchet and stuff like that have been around the game for a long time, it's not uncommon for a lot of those guys to have hardwired opinions about things.
Sure. And you say guys want to win, like obviously, and Tocchet's done it as a player and an assistant coach, so he knows what it takes to win. I might disagree with the way he goes about it, but I've never played an NHL game. I've never coached an NHL game. So, but at the same time, I can still have an opinion, and I think he did not put the team in the best place to succeed early in the season.
Yeah.
He turned the season around, and I'll give him his flowers for that.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like they moved, right? Like I mean, look at like Zegras. They moved Trevor around a lot. Like he was playing wing to start the year, and then moved him to center. It was kind of like a little bit work in progress kind of thing. But now he's really settled in at center, and now it looks like they're going to keep him there. So, it's just been it's been a fun year in general, but and there's a lot of question marks still about the group, but some of those things we can show for the summertime and enjoy the push here with what they have on hand, because there is some talent on this team. I mean, like the wings are a really, really big strength of this group. Like
totally, and even a guy who I'll give his flowers to again, and it's obviously the contract and the cap hit is high, and I've been real critical of Sean Couturier, but Sean Couturier in the top 6 is an absolute nightmare and a disaster. But you put him on the fourth line the last handful of weeks, and I think he's been great. I think he's been really, really good down there.
Yeah, it's like rejuvenated him, like
Yeah.
even like a physical aspect of his game and stuff like that. He kind of like really bit down on the mouth guard, so to speak, and really kind of like brought some physicality and was trying to impact games in a way other than scoring and stuff like that, because that's not something he's no longer the player
Yeah, and
offensively that he was. But
sure, and there's obviously going to have to be a decision that has to be made there because you can't pay a fourth line player $7 million. But again, for this playoff run that they're going to go on right now, I think he's been a really, really good fourth line player.
yeah, yeah, he has been, and he's even saw time at the wing. Like
Hmm.
they added Luke Glendening, which was like kind of like a small move,
Yeah,
and
yeah, he's been fine.
yeah, so
I don't know how I feel about Glendening yet.
yeah, so he was, but he was a part of that fourth line with
Sure,
with
totally.
Couturier, and so it kind of allowed Couturier to play wing a little bit more, and that seemed to open up some things for him too. So, no, I mean, he's another one. I mean, we could go all down the roster here of guys that have had impactful second halves for this team to get them into a playoff spot, and the list is long. So,
Yeah. Yes, it is. I don't have anything. Other than we could do a playoff preview, but I think we all kind of said it already that like it's time to take it to Pittsburgh. Like
yeah,
it's going to be a fun series. Like you said, you have Crosby again. It's going to get your blood boiling like it's 2014 all over again. Because it's been a while since these two teams have kind of hated each other. I feel like so.
yeah, and we had a little bit. Remember earlier this year, there was kind of like they had a little bit of. It was kind of like a lot of physical play and stuff. I think Zegras got tossed in that game. A couple guys
Yeah.
got tossed. It was uh, against Pittsburgh. So, but all it takes is like a playoff series. Someone throws a hit, someone throws a borderline hit or something, and it kind of just elevates the whole blood pressure of the series. And so, and then of course the built-in thing with the fan bases and stuff like that, and that's going to be a great experience for so many of these young players. Like to not hear about it, to hear what a playoff series is like in Philadelphia, but to actually experience it here, and for it to be the Penguins is like
Totally.
is going to be a real awesome experience for them. I think guys like Martone and Michkov in particular, those guys are going to relish that, like playing in an atmosphere like that. And it'll be fun. I think it's going to be a closer series than a lot of national pundits have kind of shared so far. I think people think it's Pittsburgh and that's it, but I think it's the closer series.
I think that's crazy. Like I agree that that's probably what the national media says, but like I think the Flyers match up really well against the Penguins.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think it's going to be a lot closer of a series than people are giving it credit for.
the only concerns I have is like health among, and again at this time of year everybody's banged up and hurt, but like health, for players like Travis Konechny has not looked right the last couple weeks. He just
Yeah,
hasn't. He's fighting it a little bit. I don't know if he's hurt, banged up, whatever. He's been fighting it a little bit. And then a guy like Owen Tippett who took an absolute beating against the Hurricanes.
he did.
I'm curious as to what his health is like right now because he's probably banged up a little bit. So just health. That's the only thing I think I worry about right now with those guys.
I was actually right on top of. It was like right, like directly in front of me. Like, of course we're up, but that hit Keandre Miller put on him
Yeah.
on Tippett. Tippett went and turned and went to like turn on the afterburners, and Keandre Miller stepped up on him and beautiful hit, like
Yep.
clean hit, clean as a whistle. But yeah, he took a beating in that game.
Yeah, and then he like blocked the shot like 2 minutes after that hit happened. Like he took a beating.
Yeah,
So
he got he tried to swing wide on a play and carry a puck to the net. Got shoved down, went into the goalie. I mean, it was a
yeah,
rough night.
it was a rough night for him. So
So
hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully he comes back game one and is good to go. So
yeah, yeah. So it'll be it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a really fun series. I think people are they're juiced up for it already. So,
yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, man. I was following along here. I saw some of the the chat thing here. I know we were focusing on Flyers. We'll have to come back and focus more on the Phillies. I'm sure we have plenty to talk about.
Plenty to talk about. Plenty to talk about. I see the final score 10-4. They lost
10-4. I heard. Yeah.
They were up, I think, 3-0 early.
Early, yeah. Yeah.
So again, we have all summer to completely just destroy the Phillies.
Yeah.
That'll happen because that could be a whole show in itself. And I don't know when they're gonna kick you out of there. So we probably got to get going, right?
Yeah,
so,
probably. Lights been dark in here.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you wanted to talk about with this Flyers team before we get out of here?
No, I don't think so. I mean, keep your eye on the site. I'm gonna have some preview stuff about it, and we'll be back here Tuesday to talk about it all. I'm sure we'll be in the thick of the series at that point, and I mean, it's just been a really fun year. Yesterday's atmosphere was incredible. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and it's a reminder for someone like me in my age, what it was like at one point, growing up, coming down here. In the late 90s, early 2000s, it was like this all the time, and to see people Michkov scores that goal to cut the lead last night, and I mean the crowd, the noise, it was 45 seconds after the goal, and the crowd still go. It was just awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome.
That is awesome. Listen, now is as good a time as ever to go to firedupsports.com if you're listening. It's firedupsports.com/store and get one of the Flyered Up shirts. So
yeah, we got the Flyered Up stuff there. So
there you go. I'll have to post that.
Perfect. Yeah, sure.
So check that out. We're gonna get out of here. How far you live from the arena?
It's about 25, 30 minutes. Okay, it's not too bad. Right, up 95. So. Plus, it's easier to get out of here when there's less people. So
that's true. That is true. The place is emptied out. So, all right, we're gonna get out of here, and we'll see everybody next week. Go Flyers!